Thor just need to take his butt home to Asgard and just stay there and be king. Like, you're the All-Father. Why you bothering all this craziness? You'll see what I'm talking about. My name is Dorian. This is SCM Comments. We are continuing our coverage of Immortal Thor. Number 9. Our story starts off with the last one left off, with Thor pretty much telling everybody at Roxxon, that's in the lobby, that he's not waiting for an appointment, and he uses Mjolnir to let himself in. He pretty much yells, "Minotaur!" And the Minotaur calmly sits there, and he goes, "It's Mr. Dario Agger when I'm at work. You see, Thor, this is my place of business." By the way, do they have property damage in Asgard? Because do you know how many laws you're breaking right now? Like, those elevator doors were real gold. Like, I had them inlaid with diamonds from a private mine. So Thor calls back Mjolnir, and he's like, "Gold and diamonds, you say? What about this desk? What's it made out of?" And Dario goes, "The finest Brazilian mahogany." Thor smashes the hell out of it with Mjolnir. He goes, "Finest matchwood." So then Dario's like, "Are you trying to oppress me? Like, am I supposed to be scared? Am I supposed to be shaking in my shoes?" So then Thor goes, "You should understand the limits of your mortal laws, for I obey them as a courtesy, and only when they serve justice." Let that sink in. Thor's like, "If I don't want to obey the law, I don't have to. And who's going to stop me? Or better yet, who's going to do something about it?" So then Thor finally gets to the point and goes, "You see, Dario, my mother, Gaia, spirit of Earth, is unpleased with you. And she's about to do something far worse than I will ever do. So I'm here to make sure that that doesn't happen." So then Dario goes, "Are you talking about the end of the world, Thor? Please, don't threaten me with a good time." As all of a sudden, he shows an image of what the future would be for Roxxon as they build a dome, and everything around that dome is dead as hell. Now, Thor knows there is something weird about this hologram, because he's like, I don't care how advanced the technology is, you can't fool a guy's senses. And with this hologram, like, the air is literally burnt, and he can taste it, and he's like, "Thumbs up." So as they walk into the dome, Dario's pretty much like, "Only the super rich can stay here. The rest of the world, you saw outside." Now, Thor just got finished saying that you can't fool a guy's senses. And I say cap, because as they're walking, they have a woman that's sitting in the yard with green eyes and green lipstick. How does he not know that that's not Amora the Enchantress, who always wears green? But this is for the $1 billion suckers, Thor. Me, I'll be in another world, starting over my image. So Thor's like, "What made you this way? Like, why are you like this?" And Dario's like, "I can give you a bunch of excuses. I can say it's because of revenge. I can say it's because of my bad childhood. I can say a lot of things. But you'll be told, I like when numbers go up, because that means I win and I'm better. And that's all there is." So as he's saying that, the guy that was cutting the grass all of a sudden has a lawnmower up like he's about to swing a baseball bat at Thor. And as soon as it connects, we see that it's an executioner. And he swung an axe at him. So then Dario's like, "Didn't quite snap his spine there, Scourge." And the executioner is like, "The last person that told me how to do my job, I buried in 2 graves. So the executioner's like, "2 things. For one, the axe you gave me is a far cry from the one I'm used to wielding. And for 2, that is the Odin son. It's going to take more than 1 hit." So then he's about to swing again. Thor grabs Mjolnir and blocks the blow, but the axe goes through Mjolnir. And Thor's like, "What in the hell's going on here?" So then he grabs his other axe that he made earlier in the series. If you haven't been keeping up, link to the playlist will be in the description. But before Thor could do something with it, the executioner punches the bejesus out of him, and he goes flying out of a window. And now he realizes that, yeah, he was in an illusion. So he calls Mjolnir, and he comes back, and he flies back up before he is scrimmed. So when he flies back up, the executioner now has his axe, and he's like, "Should put an enchantment on it. Now anybody can wield this thing." And before Thor can hit him with Mjolnir, the Enchantress comes out of nowhere and hits him with a spell. So then Amora was like, I thought Loki was the liar in the fan. So Amora is pretty much like, you're supposed to be the All-Father. You're supposed to be there for your people. You let Scourge die. And who was there to comfort me? Heimdall. So the Scourge is like, oh, good old Heimdall. What happened to him? Speaking of people dying, Thor let him die too. Stabbed in the back by Immortal. And then, my child, Eric, she spells with an I, it's kind of weird. He went to that damn magic school, and then he was killed by one of his fellow students. She's talking about Strange Academy. So Thor, as he's being beaten up, thinks to himself like, can't stand these two, but there is truth in what they're saying. So now we're back in the hologram, or should we call it what it is? The enchantment. So the Enchantress tells Thor that she got a hold of the oldest magic, the sacred fires that were lit when these stories are told of these gods. Like, it's the stories that build up the gods, and they're just as powerful or just as real as their bones and their blood. But then she says that when you bring it to Midgard, or she says muddy Midgard, it's a little different. Like, it shows up differently. And then Dario chimes in and goes, it's content, Thor. Your content. And then he knocks the bejesus out of him. So now Thor is done playing. He pretty much tells Dario, I am going to kill you. And right before he's about to swing Mjolnir, the executioner comes, grabs Thor's hand with the axe, and then puts him in a chokehold and was like, we can do this the easy way, or we can do this the hard way. Thor headbutts the bejesus out that man, and he grabs his nose and he goes, a hard way then. So right before Thor was going to kill Executioner, because he was going to kill Executioner, Dario steps up and shows Thor a comic book, a Roxxon comic book that says Thor. So then Thor's like, is this an illusion? And Dario's like, no, this is no illusion. So then he starts to explain how he made a mistake, or what he calls an error, back in the day. He allowed someone to publish his adventures. He didn't think nothing of it, you know, it's just ink and paper. And besides, the sales can go to some kind of charitable donation. Except for, in a nutshell, it has the power to take away Thor's powers. As he hands him the comic, and Amora tells him, whisper in his ear, go on, take it. And he starts reading, and reading, and reading. And then we see somebody that has a Roxxon Mjolnir, and he's closing in on Thor.